Hi everyone. Hey, great warm sunny day here in California, Central California. Our high temperature today is supposed to get to about 105, so going to be plenty warm and toasty. Right now when we look at our weather app, we see we're at about 73 degrees this morning. And so we do certain things to keep ourselves protected, right? We want to wear some sunglasses, something to keep the sun off of our solar panel up there. Drink plenty of water. I want to have that. If we're working out in the sun and you're like me, boy, after a little bit of time, a few years doing the sun, sunscreen, very, very valuable to you. So those are just basic protections we do. OSHA actually requires some of these. If we have employees that are out in the sun, we need to provide these things for them so that they can properly protect themselves. But how do we do as far as our tile installations go to make sure that we're within the temperature range that we're supposed to keep our thin set mortars when we install? So typically our thin set mortars want us between 50 and 90 degrees, some say 95, that's where they want us installing at. So if we're 73 degrees outside, so we should be fine, we're 73 degrees, right? Not necessarily. How do we know? So 73 is our ambient temperature. That almost does not matter what we're working at. What more matters is what's our surface that we're working on. So if we were installing tile on like a piece of foam board here, nice insulation, so how do we know what temperature it is? That's where this comes in handy, a temperature gun. So we're going to shoot the temperature here. Let's take a look here. We're going to see what our temperature is. Our temperature is 134 degrees, 135. That's been sitting outside here for about 10-15 minutes. How about the black foam board? Let's take a look, see if that's much different. That's 175 degrees. Let's take a look at our concrete. This is a concrete. We've been outside, so the concrete's 114. Right. So let's try something else. So if we're outside, so this tile has been cool. So here's a piece of tile. Here's another piece of tile. These have both been in the shade the whole time. So let's take a look here. So this is 88 degrees, 82 degrees. So the shiny side, gloss side's got about 83. The dull side's about 89 degrees, the back. So we're pushing already our temperatures. So it does. So our temperature here, 97, 96. If we just give those a couple minutes, you'll see how quick the temperature goes up. So how are we supposed to do this? How are we supposed to keep the temperature down? Well, one of the best ways is this, sun fabric. It's breathable, light colored is good. The company other company I work for, we have black sunshade. It's great to keep the sun off you, but the black really absorbs and holds the heat, so it's not necessarily great. But this can work really well just to keep the sun off of your substrate. So take a look here. Once again, what's our temperature in the sun? We're 113 in the sun. This has been in the shade for a while, 94. So we're, there we go, 93. So we're 10 degrees cooler just by having shade on it. So our board has sat here for a couple minutes now. Now let's take a look. We're already up to 101. How about the darker color? Up to 108. So if we're installing tile, one, we're already out of our temperature. Something we can do to help is if we're down within our temperature range and we get a little more life, a sprayer like this to add some water. So we want to give our substrates a drink. So we look for SSD. So we want to make sure it's saturated, but the surface is dry. So right now they're saturated, but the surface isn't dry. So we wait until it's no longer shiny, then we know our surface is dry, and then that will also cool off our surface a little bit. So if we're getting up towards the upper end, we can give our substrate a little bit of a drink. All right, so this surface is now dry. Let's take a look and see what we've got here. We're down to 102. Up here where we didn't give it a drink, we're at 106. So we're 5 degrees difference in temperature. Here, no drink here, 115. Down here where I've given it a drink, we're 106. So about 10 degrees temperature difference. So there's certain things we want to do to make sure we keep ourselves safe in the sun, but we also want to know if we're staying within the range of our temperature for our installation mortars. And once again, here we've set a few more minutes. We're up to 109, 110. Here we go once again. We're at 121. How about the blackboard there in the back? We're at 163. So if we're installing tile, we need to know our temperature. This is the only way we're going to know our temperature when we're working. So this should be the #1 tool you use ever before you get started. If you're working in the summer, winter, if you're around both ends of the temperature spectrum you're supposed to be working in, If you're on either end, you should make sure you're within the temperature you should be installing at. So that's our tip. That's for our TileTV episode. Thank you.